I forgot I can't share this. I don't care. I'm not even gonna share it. Oh, and then I took it. Oh God, it's a long day. It's a long day. No, that's not it. That's not it.
He's comedy venture. He's driving around the country. Him and a couple of buddies just telling jokes. Oh, sometimes funny things happen, and that's why I do this show.
I share this on my page.
Amy asked me lots of questions, but mostly if I got laid. Biggie's comedy venture. It's Biggie's comedy venture. Biggie's comedy venture. Biggie's comedy venture.
Oh, there it is. Hello, Amy. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
A little tired, but that's all right. It's been a long drive today to get to Oklahoma, but that's okay. I'm gonna just get right into it. To be honest with you, normally I do a little blah blah blah. You know what I mean, and chit chat. But I'm gonna get right into it. So,
all right.
The reason it was such a long drive today. We're in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
And the reason it was such a long drive is something that I've referenced before on this, I believe, on our thing. But like, how can I spell Mrs. M-I-S-S-I-S? There we go. And it's that doing the comedy the way we're doing, it's just open mics. So they're not. I am really appreciating how much open mic opportunities are in the Michigan area, like where I live now. Like, I can get to Lansing and Detroit area in 45 minutes, and really Grand Rapids if I wanted to in a few hours, with some really good shows. And so we had a thing where I had thought there was going to be comedy in Tulsa, Oklahoma tonight, and then in the end there was at the bar that they were doing it at. Randomly, they had a concert tonight, so they didn't have it. And then we're like, we have to like try to do Oklahoma and Kansas in this back-to-back days.
Okay.
So we had to change it to Oklahoma or Kansas. And so anyway, my point is like these things are like they're just to do what we're doing. There's not like I really mentioned this last time, I think, but I think I thought for real I was gonna do some stuff where like, hey man, we'll just kind of be in an area and put somewhere.
Yeah. Just kind of like play it by ear.
And it's just it's not that possible. Especially my one friend Scott thought like we were talking in Charlotte, and he's like, "Oh, it will get easier here in a little bit." I don't remember what his reasoning was. I was like, "No, it's not going to be," because I'm like, we're going to be going to areas where they might have like in Kansas. There's Wichita, Kansas, and I mean I know there are other cities in Kansas City. I'm not stupid. But there's not another big city that I would assume would be there would be comedy at. Like this might be the only city that has comedy in this. I mean, I'm sure some little towns might do some open mics, but it's like
how are you finding these open mics?
Google, and then also there are like some of the better cities do have like a Facebook community page where it'll say like open mic comedy Oklahoma City, and there'll be a page where they have lots of things. Okay. And I will say there is comedy in some of these places other nights. It's not even like in the bigger cities, they'll have them other nights. But how we're trying to maneuver the map, we can't necessarily, doesn't work for us. And so like we had a situation recently where when I came back from my parents, I had them like an assignment I gave them is like, we need to find out where to do it in Arkansas and Mississippi. And in a perfect world, we would have gone from Nashville to Jackson, Mississippi, up to Arkansas. You know what I mean? And it didn't work that way. And we had this dude, Amy. And I'm sorry, I know I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm going to let you talk.
Please keep talking because my dogs are barking.
Okay, well, there you go. But hello, Miggy and Diesel. Anyway, but we had comedy that we thought lined up in Mississippi, where it's like, oh yeah, there's a Mike's Comedy Club or whatever, Jackson, Mississippi. And Scott called him up, I guess, when I was gone, and it didn't get the best feeling because for one, the club's number was just a guy's personal cell phone.
Oh my God.
And it appeared that we woke him up, and then they woke him up woke him up. It was like 3 PM. What who's outside?
Rocky
Or-
just got home from work.
Oh, gotcha.
So the dogs
gotcha.
are going crazy.
They go crazy even every day when he
Yeah,
comes in.
every single day. That's what I mean. When people come here to visit, I'm like, they do it to us too. Trust me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's so funny. But so anyway, this guy, like, they called him in the middle of the day, and then they're like, so it says you have a comedy, open mic every Thursday. He's like, and he kind of said, yeah, generically, I guess. And then they're like, so we're just trying to be clear because we're not from the area, like, Thursday the 20, whatever the date was, right? Whatever. And he's like, yeah. And then he was like, I guess he's like, and we were like, no, sorry, I mean the 28th or something. He's like, oh yeah, we got it that day.
Oh my god, yeah.
So
So he's like,
we don't really know, and we kept like not knowing, and we
well, like when you guys are calling these places, are you telling them what you're doing? Are you like,
Yeah.
hey, we're doing this
yes,
cross-country
at this point.
thing? Okay.
Well, mostly we are. When I message people, I'll say that. If we call a place, we just kind of say, hey, it says you have an open mic. If they say yes, then it's like, okay, just confirm what the time is and ask about the sign up, like when do you
Okay.
sign up for it. So we went to Little Rock with the assumption still of kind of like, okay, we're going to kind of place our hopes that we can do Little Rock on Tuesday and Jackson on Thursday. And then we called him up again, and he gave us some. For one, by the way, Amy, this dude's cell phone, his messenger, his like answering machine, which again is for quote unquote a comedy club. Like he
Right.
owns the bar.
Right.
It says. I mean, and in his message, at one point he makes a mistake, and he's like, "Oh yeah, messed up a little bit there,"
Oh
and
my God.
just pushes on. Like you could re-record it. It's
Kind of
not
like your intro song.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, good point. I think my intro song is a little different in this setting. He owns he owns a business.
But he owns a comedy club. Maybe he thinks it's funny.
Maybe.
I just got you on that one.
I think that a business is different than a podcast intro where
Well.
I think it's different. But nonetheless, I guess we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. I don't agree with that. I think it's a different. But anyway, it is kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. He's just lazy, but I just like giving
right.
him a
And I
hard
will
time.
say we tried our song a few different times, and we just decided that we thought that one sounded the fun most. Like we are the talent, by the way. When you're the bartender owner, you are the businessman, and you're supposed to be, I think, a little more professional than humorous, jokey joke talent guy. So that's my explanation. But anyway, so we couldn't confirm this because eventually we did get him on the phone. We're like, so do you have an open mic in 2 days? In 2 days, is there an open mic in your bar? And he's like, well, he kind of just kept stumbling around, and eventually he's like, I mean, you could, I don't know how many people are going to be there, but you could perform for the staff.
Oh my
And it's like, is there a comedy show or not, dude? You run a bar. And so
sounds like maybe he didn't know if anybody was going to be there, but like, yeah, I mean, you can come tell some jokes. The staff will be there.
I guess, but it's like, and I would even be okay with that if he was legit. Like, yeah, we have a weekly show. We don't get a lot of people usually, but we do a show, and you can stand up on a stage, right?
Yeah.
So we looked into another one, and I'll say we didn't call this one up to clarify, and here's the reason why. I had most of the hotels on this trip. We stayed at our new worst hotel on this trip.
Yeah.
And we didn't stay there. The second time on this trip, I've left a hotel. But
was
like
this the one that had the food in the fridge?
Yes.
Okay.
So did you actually see that?
Yeah, I saw that. That was crazy. Because when you were showing it, I was like, I don't know. This doesn't even look that bad. And the thing about me is I would have never even opened the fridge. So I probably would have
No,
stayed
I mean,
there.
and I would
Or
say,
were there
Amy,
other things?
I don't open mini fridges. Before this trip, I've not opened them as much as I have. Like maybe at times I've thrown in a 6-pack of beer or something, but I've stayed at plenty hotels and not opened the mini fridge.
Yeah.
I get that. And I would say this. So what Amy's describing is that we were staying at this hotel, and there was food left in the mini fridge. And this was not like, honestly, this was not even like the day before.
Right. Yeah.
There was a
like old stuff.
There was coleslaw that was literally hard. There was a piece of meat, looked like kind of a steak-ish,
So
and
gross.
frozen to the back of the refrigerator. Like
That. So I mean, like, what? Nobody just opened the fridge that worked there for
100%.
like
That
months?
100%. I think that would happen at this place.
Or was there a Big E that is cleaning the rooms and who opened the fridge and thought, that's tomorrow's problem, and shuts the door and then just never comes back?
No, I think this is a situation. This hotel was disgusting. Like, and for one, by the way, several of the quote unquote patrons of the patrons. Is that right? Patrons of the hotel were carrying their belongings in garbage bags.
Oh my God.
There was a lady on our row that was sitting on the floor that looked just a bottle of pills next to her, waiting for her, I believe, boyfriend to like get the key or something.
What?
There was also like
this
was in Little Rock, Arkansas. Now, I will admit, I have mostly tried to look at Venmo reviews or not Venmo reviews. Got my mind. Yelp reviews or Google reviews. And this one, the price was terrible, considerably. Like it was, $70 and it's in downtown. I knew it wasn't going to be good. I knew there'd probably
What was that compared to? Like, what was your second cheapest option?
Like 100, I think, or something. Okay. And it wasn't downtown. And even that one didn't look, I remember thinking like, well, it's downtown. I don't know.
Downtown Little Rock.
I didn't realize Little Rock was such a scumbag place, but apparently it is. But like so for one, Amy, by the way, we get into the hotel and it's 2:46 and she goes, the girl goes like, well, you can't check in before 3 or it's a $25 fee. I'm like, $14. It's a Tuesday night, right? Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, Tuesday night. It is 14 minutes. And then I say to her, I said, hey, I don't know if it matters or not, but I actually have like a credit card with Wyndham and stuff. Like, is there anything that could help me with maybe early check-in? And she just goes, no. And I kind of do like, well, Marriott does, but whatever. And so we wait our 14 minutes, Amy, and then I look and on
I'm envisioning Meet the Parents when he's going back on the plane and he can't board but no one's boarding in front of him.
Yeah.
And he just has to wait there till his zone's called.
No, seriously. And it's like, so we sit out there and then it's like, I actually look on my thing to see like, where am I? And I'm like, I found out, and don't get me, it's not a big deal. It's not really like an ooh, but Wyndham is not like a Marriott card. It doesn't take a lot to get to the highest level of Wyndham points. Yeah. But I'm there. I'm at their diamond version of their thing. And I was like, oh, what? Right. Diamonds of the Wyndhams, that's the king of the trailer park, but whatever. But I look and I see like what are the things that comes with that, right? And one of them is you can possibly get an upgraded room if one is available for free, like whatever that is at a fucking Super 8. I don't know what an upgraded room at a Super 8 is.
That's where you were. You were at a Super 8.
Well, we were at a La Quinta or whatever. Yeah. But like, I mean, I'm just saying, like in some of these hotels, Wyndham's Tree, like I don't know what an upgraded room is. But so I go back in there and I'm getting the room and I say, hey, I'm sure it's not. Like I am so, you know how I am. I'm so anti-confrontational. I'm like, hey, you're probably full or anything.
I can just see you stewing in the lobby though while you're waiting that 14 minutes, like furiously scrolling your phone.
We went outside. But I do go to her, Amy, and I'm like, hey, not a big deal, but I noticed on my app that I have through you guys that I could actually possibly be upgraded to a better room if one's available. I'm not sure if one is, but and she's like, will you get, and she just doesn't fucking care. She goes like, oh, what do you mean? You have the room you have the room that you have.
Oh my God.
Just like that. She says you got the room that you got. And I go, I understand, not trying to be a big deal.
At this point?
I'm checking in and I'm going like, hey, I know what I'm just saying, like, my app says this. I have a credit card with the Wyndham. My app says I've reached this level that sometimes I can get some upgraded rooms if possible. And then she goes, and she says something else. And then I say something else. And then she's like, I was like, well, why do you think you deserve a room? And Amy, I admit, I did something that I would not usually say, but I'm like, because I spend a lot of money at these hotels.
So she asked you why she thought you deserved an upgrade?
Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to show her on the app. I'm like, because I have a credit card and I've spent I've stayed a lot of nights here. And it says here that and she just keeps going, I don't know what you mean. I don't know why you think you deserve an extra. Here's your key. And I did, like I
Oh
said, I
my
finally
God.
did say, like, because I spend a lot of money here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you
Because
have
I've
the right
stayed
to
at
say
20
that.
plus hotels in your chain this year alone, and we're not even in June.
Right.
So it's like, and I'm not, and I didn't even say it. It says I deserve it. It just said, I just kind of said, hey,
Yes,
if
you were
it's
just
possible.
inquiring.
So anyway, then after we finally check in, we start driving the van into the parking garage. Which, by the way, I sat there for a few minutes saying, hey, so we just go over to parking over here. And finally, another person behind it says, yeah, over there. Like, she didn't answer me. And we go into this parking, Amy, oh my God. I was like, I don't know how I can park my van here. There is just food and glass and shit everywhere. It reeks. The even though I didn't expect a gate necessarily, the gate has just wires hanging out of it. And then we get to the top of the fucking, like, a second floor, and I was already telling them, like, God, this is really sketchy, man. I don't know about leaving the van here. And we go and we try to do the elevator, and we're like, I don't know about the elevator. I'm going to do the stairs. And we go to open the stairwell, and literally I couldn't breathe. It was so disgusting.
Ugh.
The word waft is what I would use.
Ew.
I mean, and it smelled like feces and urine, if you will. Seriously. And in the end, by the way, we found out there was 100% people living in there, because I did a little video, and like, I didn't even realize it. We tried to jokingly show inside of it, and I just held my camera in there, and I was like, I couldn't take it, so I whipped out. And then, like, Tyler was watching later. He's like, dude, there was a dude laying right there when you were, and you were like, and I didn't see him. But we got in the elevator, Amy, and it's like the ceiling was like falling down. The little light that says what floor you're supposed to be on just wasn't there, with wires hanging out. So we didn't know what to do. And I'm like, we can't stay here. We can't stay here. And then we did read the reviews, and there was several reviews of people getting their cars broken into in this parking structure.
So you didn't read the reviews before you went?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
This is rare. I normally do. Okay. This time I thought, it's a one-nighter. It's one of these ones where, like, when we have one nights, I'm like, it's a one-nighter. It'll be gross, but it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. And honestly, if I didn't worry about the van getting broken into or smashed, we would have stayed. As gross as the room was, we would have stayed. I would not have done that. But we didn't know it. But the problem was now is, like, we had comedy in 3 hours, and we didn't want to go down and bitch, because then we'd have to leave the room. And, like, we're all tired as fuck. And we're like, so we sat in this room for like 2 hours and kind of made food, but everybody, like, put things on, like, and we had to bring, because we were worried about the parking lot. So we brought everything up to the room. Yeah. Like, normally we don't bring everything. Like, we brought our laptops that we weren't even going to use, and everything. Yeah. And then as soon as we get up, we're like, we can't stay here. We're going to have to drag this all the way back down in 2 hours.
Seems like it would have been a better idea to, like, rotate one person in the car, like maybe like one, 45 minutes at a time.
Probably
in the car.
Probably. I would say this. I wouldn't trust that at night, though.
Oh, was this at night?
No, in the day we could have done it. Like you said,
maybe that's what I meant. Like, while you were waiting there instead of hauling everything in. But I guess you didn't know you weren't gonna.
No. In the day but I would say this: I would not have done that at night. I wouldn't have trusted it. I wouldn't have trusted it. So here's another part of that story. So, like, now we're in Little Rock on that day because of that. We call and we decide this other one doesn't even look like it's happening. We look up the Facebook page. They no reference to comedy. The last time they referenced comedy at Mike's Comedy Club in Jackson was like a year ago. Okay. So they don't show any posts, even though there are posts on their Facebook page, but nothing includes comedy. We look in the area, it looks kind of janky. So we find another place, which is 5 hours out of the way, by the way. It is 5 hours south from Little Rock. Did not want to do this. And so it's at this place in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which is only at that point now an hour and a half from New Orleans. And we get down there and we call up and we were going to call that Tuesday when we were in the La Quinta to make sure that was there so we didn't drive 5 hours. But we got so caught up in the fucking, all of that we didn't. And the open mic wasn't a thing anymore. So
Oh no.
now we drove 5 hours down there
Oh no.
out of the way. So what we did is we troubleshooted in the end, and Tyler wrote on a poster board just Big E's Comedy Club.
Nice.
And I just went down to the campus. There was a University of Southern Mississippi.
Oh,
And I
nice.
just went down there and just did comedy in front
Good
of
for you, E.
people. And I count this. I'm counting
You
this as,
should.
and so Amy, we did it twice. I did it once in an area where there wasn't as many people because I was very nervous.
Yeah.
Even, I know people think I wouldn't, but that is something to me
That's
because
very
I wanted to
different.
do it legit. I didn't
Yeah.
want to get up there and kind of do the, if you know it, like a jokery. I wanted to say like
What kind of setting were you in?
the one I did, there was this little stage, a little wooden stage, and there was like a grass kind of like, not a field, but like, what would you call that on a campus almost? Like a square or
Yeah.
something.
Okay.
But there wasn't that many people sitting. There were people walking around.
Okay.
And I had my buddy Scott come up and be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. He's traveling all over the country. And I did like, I really consciously try to do like my set. Like I said, because it
Okay.
could be really easy in that setting to get kind of goofy with it and make it kind of a
yeah,
shtick.
yeah.
So I tried to sit there and just do my jokes. We did that. And I was like, that was good. But we were all like, it needs to be more in front of people to have it really feel like it counts.
Mm-hmm.
So we walked around and we found this place. We saw a bunch of people by a fountain. We thought, this is great. Turns out they were doing like a brownie sale or something, or like a bake sale. And it was just a bunch of people. And I just did it anyway. I went up there. My friend like announced me and I got up there. And I mean, I went into I was talking about fucking, dick pics and sending dick pics and being on Tinder and shit.
Well, I think that that's good, E, because I think a lot of people, myself included, would have just been like, guess we can't do it here. And,
I just-
done something. So I think that takes a lot of guts, too.
I was there. I was there to be like, I don't know what to do. And I really had thought about doing that at one point. Now, I will say, I told Tyler and them when I first started planning this a long time ago, I didn't even remember looking into like that you could look on Google and stuff and did these open mics. So my thought was this might be something I would be doing all the time.
Right.
And the only thing that bums me out, by the way, and I swear to God, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I might have to fly back to Hawaii. I don't, money-wise, that'd be very tough, but I might have to do it. And we were talking today about this. Like, if I was in Hawaii now, I would have done that night by myself, even though I was still sick, even though my buddies couldn't go, even though I had to Uber. But the problem was, at that point, I had not really done comedy in like a year. I was not very confident. And I knew he knew I was coming from Michigan and in the message, like, oh, traveling around.
Yeah.
And I was not prepared to get up there and bomb. I was sick.
Well, tell everybody when they're home during your little hiatus to work for their freaking ticket.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know what's going to happen. Well, we're all going to have to work already to go on the other part of the trip. So, I mean, I'm going to see what I'm going to do. I might have to just suck up the credit card debt and do it because I don't like the idea of 49 states. And I was there.
Yeah.
Having said that, great time to mention my Venmo, Eric Fadie, ERICFADIE. If you want to help me out and help me fix a problem I already created on the first week of the trip, I'd appreciate that. Go ahead.
I've lost my connection to the person who donates to you from my Twitter because I have received the
I saw that
permaban. So
I saw that,
and
I'm sure you'll get it back.
Hopefully, I will once the sale goes through. But it's funny because I tried to connect to a VPN on my phone.
Yeah.
And create a new account, new email address. Didn't associate it with my phone number. Used a VPN that said I was in Chicago. I was doing this right before
and
the
still
podcast.
wouldn't let you do it, huh?
So I get it. I set it up. Go to follow my first person. It says, "Boom, you're suspended."
Oh wow.
So yeah, it said that I was suspended for evading permanent suspension.
Oh my God.
Like I'm a criminal.
Jeez, it's just. Oh my God.
It's
how
Twitter.
ridiculous, dude. Get over yourself, Twitter.
I mean, for real.
Fucking ridiculous.
And what kills me too is that like you can appeal it, quote unquote, but when you appeal it and they come back and say no, that's that. And it's like you know, there's nothing given to the context or anything.
That's fucking crazy, dude. Well, hopefully that person at one point just started downloading the podcast.
Yes.
Hey, this will be a good test.
Yeah, we'll see.
Terry.
Terry,
this will be a good test if Terry actually listened or she just, by the way, another thing I was going to mention, I did finally give in a very minor way. And that is, I was eating food the other day and I'm like, I was at a point, Amy, where every meal I ate, I was literally eating my own facial hair while I was eating. I was having to pull my facial hair out of my mouth. And so finally the other day, all I did is I took some scissors because I'm too cheap to go out and actually buy the thing. I don't want to buy some $8 thing that I use once, but I took some scissors that were in our.
Because you don't think you're gonna be using it again.
I think by the time I need it again, I can be at home and I have stuff or whatever that I forgot to bring. But I cut just around my upper lip and under my mouth, so it doesn't go into my mouth anymore when I eat.
How's that working out?
I've kept everything else. Great. It's so nice to be eating and not have hair in my food. Like I was literally having hair in my food. What's up?
Are you washing the beard when you wash your hair?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am. I just washed it today even. Full on used hair shampoo in my beard just today.
Good.
So I am doing it. Not every time by any means, but I am doing it. It's not like I'm not.
You're doing it. Okay,
I am washing it. But it was just like the other day I was eating dinner and I was also kind of feeling a little under the weather. And I'm like, I mean, shit can probably be up in this beard. I don't know. And I was just like literally picking hair out of my mouth as I'm eating. And I finally was just like, I need to cut some of this off.
Yeah.
But just like I said, I cut just a little bit, just enough that it's not in my mouth.
Legit looked like Forrest Gump when he was running around the world.
I know. And so anyway, that is what it is. Let me think. Is there anything else? That was kind of, so my point is the craziness of this main message of all this was, it's been a crazy few weeks for I have one of my friends who was like really on me one time about my schedule and like, oh, come on, you can't just tell me. And I'm like, look what happened in Nashville. Lost my credit card. We were supposed to be there at night. We spent a few hours in the day.
Yeah.
In this last week, we've changed locations on a few different places. It's just not been as easy as I thought.
Hard. Yeah, I mean, things happen. And are you tracking like how many miles you're driving, or?
I'm not going to say yet because at one point I thought I'll tell you off the thing.
Okay.
At one point I thought about doing it as a contest to see how many people think how many miles they think we've driven. I'll tell you what it is, but it's crazy. Okay. And then I'll say there was something I was going to say, one more thing, and I don't remember what it was about. It had to do with when I was talking about the planning of stuff. Oh, I'll say that. I'll throw this out there. This isn't what I was going to say, but I'll throw this out there today too. It was kind of crazy. When we were driving from Branson, Missouri to Kansas today, there has been apparently a shitload of tornadoes in Kansas, like literally in the last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we're driving. And on Tyler's phone, it's tornado warning in our area. But dude, it was like there was lightning and shit, and there was raining fucking to the point where we couldn't see, and there was windy and like gusting. I'm just like, dude, be paying attention if we need to go to a ditch or some shit. Like,
what is the status of the hats?
Oh my God! You know what? Here's another lesson for all the people listening. I don't even feel a fuck. I know that normally you're supposed to sit there and play this coy, like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna let it go another week on the contest. I put out on my fucking Facebook this hat, and there was a bunch of motherfuckers that said that's cool merchandise. Heart, carry act, want one. You have a chance right now. They're available for $25, and so. You can
Maybe you should post about it in case.
I am going to make another post about it. I'm going to make another post tomorrow. That will be a goal. But having said that, for all the people that reacted, I know there are. We don't have 1 million listeners, believe it or not, Amy, but we have enough to sell out 3 hats. Yeah. So
yes, I agree.
So you selfish people out there who care and heart reacted and didn't buy a hat, just know that you're taking money out of my wallet, basically. And me and
you're making him stay in dumps.
Right. Dumps with food that was left in there. I ate 75-cent mac and cheese today from Walmart. So have that on your head. Okay, Amy, that's enough of my ranting, apparently. I gotta get going because we gotta do comedy and shit. But thanks for sitting there while I yelled at you. We need to have somebody. If this was like the Detroit or the TDC at this point, I wish I could have someone break down this episode, how much you talked versus how much I talked. I'm out of 29 minutes and 45 seconds. I'm gonna guess I talked for at least 25 of those minutes.
To be fair, I had my phone on mute a lot of the time because my dogs were barking. So it
Even
was a good
better, you weren't even
episode for
listening.
you. It was
That's
a good
even-
episode for you to keep talking because I was just kind of nodding along.
You know what? Just having a face there makes it better. Because I will say, last week when I tried to finish a story that was pretty funny,
Yeah.
it was a big difference. Even if you're not even really
Yeah,
talking.
And then it's like, how do you end it? It's like, okay, well, see you later.
Yeah. So even if you're just there and you're not even talking, at least a human head sitting there helps me. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. Okay, guys, that's
right.
it for this week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.